YouTube. So that's kind of exciting. All right. So I am really excited to be here. We are going to be talking about love and New Age mysticism. And today in particular, we're going to be looking at what is a soulmate. Now, I know on my channel and in my Facebook group, I talk a lot about attachment theory, and in particular, psycho-spiritual approaches to using creative arts interventions with attachment theory. And so I spend a lot of time on the attachment end of things, and I talk a little bit about energy and the distribution of energy and how our creative processes can help us to step into, let's say, a more spiritually informed existence. But I don't really talk too much about, go so in depth with the spiritual end of things. And I've gotten a lot of questions over the past few months about soulmates and twin flames and how does that all tie into this. So I thought I would commit this next 4-part video series to talking about my perspective on that. And so today we are going to be diving into those topics, and it is going to be a 4-part video series. So let's see if I can find here. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about love and New Age mysticism. So what is a soulmate? On the 5th, we're going to be talking about popular myths about soulmates, 5 popular myths about soulmates. On the 8th, we're going to talk about the difference between soulmates and ascended partnerships. So I tend to think of ascended partnership as something separate. And lastly, we're going to do a guided meditation to open the heart chakra to an ascended love. Okay, so all of these videos that we're going to be doing this month are in promotion of my signature course, Healing Attachment Wounds with Mindfulness and Creative Arts Interventions. What's different about it is typically Healing Attachment Wounds is a self-directed online course. This month, I am promoting it as a live online group coaching program. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we're going to be gathering a group of at most 8 individuals into an intimate group, and I am going to be working with you directly. So we are going to meet for about an hour once a week, every week for 10 weeks to digest the content that I normally give out through self-directed content. You're still going to have access to the self-directed content, but you're going to have me holding your hand through it and also being present to process things for you as they relate to you personally. And so for the first, I think it's week or 2 of this month, I'm offering a 30% off early bird rate. If you're someone who's interested and you've been following me for a while and you know you want to sign up, I'm going to include a link in the caption of this video in order for you to do that. If you are just getting to know me and or you're not sure yet if you want to participate in an intimate, more intensive program like that, then I'm also promoting a challenge. So these 4 videos are going to be kind of a precursor to a 4-day challenge we are going to be doing the 3rd week of the month, starting on the 15th, Monday the 15th. And so I will tell you a little bit more about that at the end of this video. So before I do that, though, I want to just kind of dive into what it is that I want to talk about today. So if you've been watching me for a while, you probably know by now that a lot of psychological theories tend to suggest that if we have unhealthy patterns of relating, they tend to unconsciously impact our methods of mate selection. And so if you have a little bit of insight and you're able to reframe your context, then that should be enough to kind of put us straight and get us hunkered down with a healthy partner. And once you find a secure partner, then everything should be okay. But I don't necessarily feel like that's true, because there's often circumstances in which we've had years of therapy and all the insights and behavioral changes in the world don't really seem to make a dent in the way that we are actually experiencing our romantic relationships. And so you might have found yourself asking, why God? Why me? Why is this happening now? Others might say, well, God has nothing to do with it. But I would say that few of us are really able to contextualize and benefit from our experiences unless we are able to derive a sense of meaning from those experiences. And the definition of spirituality in a nutshell is basically what life means to us. And we tend to derive a sense of meaning from feeling like we are part of something bigger than ourselves, whatever that may be. And so with respect to today's topic, we often throw around terms like soulmates, but there's really no consensus on exactly what that refers to. And so I decided to do my own research on this topic, exploring more specifically spiritual theories of love. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you the gist of what I've gleaned from New Age literature and suppositions of famous contemporary psychics, mediums, and spiritual leaders and healers, such as Cyndi Dale, Clare Prophet, Char Margolis, Sylvia Browne, and Brian Weiss. Okay. And if you don't know me, my name is Brianna McWilliam. I'm an author, educator, Reiki practitioner, and creative arts therapist. And I've been in the field for about 13 years now. And I am just wild about love and attachment in adult romantic relationships and helping individuals go from feeling lost and confused and fearful in their relationships to stepping into their soulful sovereignty and calling in the passionate relationships that they really desire, ideally without having to talk in circles around their feelings for hours or even years on end with no tangible results. So today we are going to start with these ideas about New Age mysticism and where love comes from and what it means when you find yourself in a fiery relationship. And we're going to back up a little bit, because if we're using terms like soulmates, then we have to talk about the origin of the soul. And so this is a bit of the lore that I gleaned from all of the New Age literature that I've been reading. So one day God, who is both male and female, gave themselves a little squeeze, and a drop of white firelight fell out. And this drop agreed to live a human existence, to learn more about love. So the drop was divided in half. So one half focusing on masculine energy and the other focusing on feminine energy, although both contain aspects of each, like each side of a yin and yang symbol. And this does not dictate biological sex assignment either. Okay. But together, these halves are called twin flames. Separately, each one is called an I am presence. And so each flame, or I am presence, sort of casts a line and sends forth a soul, kind of like a fisherman casting a line with bait on the end. And so the line connecting the bait to the fisherman is considered the soul's higher self, or true self, and the part that connects your soul to the divine aspects of yourself, your I am presence. And so through many lives on earth embodying both genders, a soul seeks to balance karmic debts, which are more or less shameful wounds, through transformative feelings of love in order to find its way back to its I am presence and potentially reunite with its twin flame. But this is the soul's essential misconception. So as Cyndi Dale, who's author of Beyond Soulmates, asserts, the soul's dedication to karma supports one repetitive pattern after the other, so reinforcing the idea that you have to earn love. But true self-based dharmic relationships suggest that you are love, and that means that you are empowered to allow in only what encourages love and sends the same to others. And so Dale explains that this dharmic sort of shortcut through karma is not an unhealthy, boundaryless love where you basically become a doormat and turn the other cheek in every situation, but it's rather a transformative intention to act with love towards yourself and others instead of only yearning for it. And so at times there will be an emptiness or a loneliness or a longing that reveals the karmic nature of a relationship, particularly those that result in marriage. And they can be very difficult marriages because they may be for the balancing of severe crimes, such as murder, betrayal, or hatred. And the worst karma, the most intense love and attraction upon meeting, typically, the more love and attraction there is upon meeting. Because as Clare Prophet says in her book, Soulmates and Twin Flames, very often the only way to overcome a record of self-hatred and hatred of the other is through intense love expressed through a husband-wife relationship, for example. So we love a lot because there is a lot to be forgiven. And so soulmate connections are somewhat different. So that's a karmic relationship. Now, a soulmate relationship is somewhat different and not necessarily romantic in nature. So soulmates are kindred souls seeking to master the same issues as you are. And sometimes they are part of the same soul tribe that you've traveled with throughout many lifetimes. And sometimes they are unknown souls you're encountering for the first time. But she suggests that you don't put your life on hold looking for a soulmate. And more importantly, you need to learn to give and receive love from people that you meet, because you won't necessarily be struck by lightning when you do find a soulmate. So Char Margolis, author of Love Karma and a frequent guest on shows like Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, and Larry King Live, says that we get into trouble when we start to believe that the only relationship worth having is a soulmate. And when the fireworks aren't immediate or the connection isn't instant, this belief makes us think that the relationship just isn't worth our time. When the truth is that we may have many soulmates that incarnate in many forms over many lifetimes, depending on the lessons that we and they need to learn. And so consider, what if your lesson in this lifetime is to learn about the kind of love that builds slowly? So at this point, I'm going to recap a little bit. Your soul's mission is to love itself without feeling like it has to earn it in order to rejoin with its twin flame and thus return to God. This is the general concept of Dharma. But in the meantime, your soul isn't buying it. And remember, your soul is that bait on the end of the fishing line. So instead of taking the elevator, the dharmic elevator, it climbs the stairs step by step, one by one, trying to balance these karmic debts. And this makes the idea of the happy ending, which is presumably uniting with your twin flame in the world of spirit, feel too far away and pretty much damn near impossible to achieve. So Sylvia Browne, who is author of Phenomenon and a frequent guest on the Montel Williams show, CNN, and Good Morning America, challenges us to assume a different perspective. And so she says that we share a bond with our twin flames like identical twins would, but we are certainly not joined at the hip. I'm not a half person. You are not a half person. Like all spirits on the other side, twin flames can choose when, if, and how many times to incarnate. And we make these decisions separately for our very own specific reasons. And don't forget, in the context of eternity, we leave home and come back in the blink of an eye. So why would you bother coordinating travel plans when you see each other as often as you want on the other side? So according to Sylvia Browne, it's highly unlikely that you would encounter a twin flame on Earth. Now, Brian Weiss, who's a prominent psychiatrist and author of Many Lives, Many Masters, quoted a messenger from the in-between through a patient in a regressed hypnotic state. And they said that our task is to learn, to become godlike through knowledge, because by knowledge we approach God and then we can rest. Then we come back to help others. So this leads me to Edgar Cayce's work. And Edgar Cayce has a slightly different definition of twin flames. Edgar Cayce says that twin flames come together for purposeful work in this world, and they do not need to be romantic partners. But they come together in partnership, not necessarily for the antagonistic experience of soul growth, but rather for the benefits of providing inspiration and good works for people around them, for something that is bigger than themselves. So of course, you're still going to experience soul growth in that way, but it's more like the curriculum changes. Okay. And so what do we conclude about this? What does this lead us to believe? Well, with a little willing suspension of disbelief, perhaps life isn't such a shameful balancing act as karma would suggest, but it's really more like a party. And you can either beat yourself up, making reparations for whatever trouble you think that you've caused, kind of slinking about in your room, sulking, or you can get a little tipsy and dance with your friends until the cows come home. And so even if you make a poor decision, there's always a next party to make a better one. And a party isn't a party if you sit around waiting all the time for only one guest to arrive. But perhaps more importantly, love and happiness doesn't begin at the finish line. It is in fact with you all the way from the start. And so I hope that you have enjoyed this little lit review of the New Age literature and mysticism and thoughts about love and soulmates. If you are enjoying this topic, I invite you to stick around and learn more. I'm going to be talking more about my perspectives on soulmates, twin flames, and what I call ascended partnership in the next few days to come. And also, we are going to be talking more about this challenge that I'm going to be offering in and around these subject areas. Now I'm going to be delivering this live stream series through my Facebook page, my public Facebook page, as well as through YouTube. So I invite you, if you have not yet, to like and or subscribe on my YouTube channel, or to join me on my public Facebook page if you want to ask questions as we continue throughout this process. And again, this is in promotion of my signature course, Healing Attachment Wounds. We are going to be running it as a live group coaching program. And this is the first time ever I'm hosting it as a live group coaching program online. So again, we're going to be doing it with a maximum number of 8 group participants. And I'm also inviting 3 expert guest presenters to add new content to that experience. So the first one is Kristen Von Fox, who is a shaman and a health coach, and she is going to be guiding us through a shamanic journey to recover soul parts. Our second guest is the illustrious Kyle Benson, who is a love and intentionally intimate relationship coach. He is someone who works with John Gottman at the Gottman Institute in the Love Lab. If you're not familiar, John Gottman wrote the best-selling book, 7 Principles to Make Marriage Work, and he's got a wealth of knowledge and experience in evidence-based practices for what works with long-term relationships. And lastly, we are going to welcome Sacha Fossa, who is a sex therapist and someone who is certified in erotic blueprints, and is going to be talking to us about sexuality and how we express ourselves in the bedroom with our partners. And so if you are interested in that, again, there is a 30% off early bird rate right now, which will be available throughout the delivery of this live stream series. If you're not new, or if you are new to me and you're not familiar with my work, I'd encourage you to sign up for a free challenge we're going to be offering towards the end of this month. It's called 4 Steps to Passionate Partnership. Become a healthy lover and attract soul-shaking love. And so this is going to be a free live 4-day challenge for the wounded lover interested in building their self-confidence, becoming irresistibly attractive to a partner, and calling in a soul-shaking, passionate partnership, even if you are anxiously needy, have a fear of intimacy, or you believe that you are just not good enough. And so after this challenge, you are going to walk away with a clear focus of energy and intention when it comes to the type of love partner that you want to call in, and a guided meditation to clear those unwanted energetic cords. We're going to do an assessment of 3 relationship styles. There will be some discussion of attachment style, but this is specifically 3 relationship styles. It includes the anxious avoidant trap, but there are 2 more styles that I haven't talked about yet on this channel that we're going to be exploring in this challenge. And they are styles that can cause some pretty significant problems in relationships. We are also going to do a focus wheel together for turning your deepest fears into your greatest strengths when it comes to love. And lastly, we're going to do another guided meditation for opening the heart chakra and raising your love vibration. In addition to that, you also get a 32-page downloadable PDF workbook with transcripts of much of what we are going to be talking about, as well as experiential exercises. So if you are interested in participating in any of these activities, I invite you to check out the links in the caption of this video, and make sure to stay tuned, because our next live stream in this series is going to be coming up on the 5th. So I look forward to seeing you then.